Hello, welcome back to another photography video. I'm here in Southend Seafront on a pretty gloomy and dull Monday morning, so that's fun. But I also have my Leica Q2, so we're here for just a casual morning photo walk / Instagram Q&A. So you guys asked me some questions. I'm just gonna have a little walk around and answer them. Two things I wanna let you know. First thing, thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. We'll talk more about those guys later on. And second thing is that there are 0 good photos coming up in this video. I've been walking around for an hour and a half, and typically these photos would not see the light of day. These photos would not be seen by anyone, but because I'm making this video and I'm feeling pretty casual this morning, I'm just gonna throw this video together and I'll show you the images. But I just wanna let you know what you're getting yourself into. The images here are baseline 0. They are not good. I think the point is that we're out just for the sake of taking photos, because why not? That's always a healthy thing to do. I hope you enjoy me answering some of your questions and the bang average photography that you're about to watch. Let's do it. Yeah, if we can just get these boats neatly spaced. Look how tiny that person is in the distance. Let's have a look at the first question, shall we? First question from Jack says, who is your favorite photographer? The first person that comes to mind is Matt Stewart, and then the second person that comes to mind is Jeremy Page, Eaten by Flowers on Instagram. I think those two people, I'd say Jesse Marlowe as well is in there. Jesse Marlowe takes some pretty fun images. I like street photography that looks like I wouldn't be able to do it. I know that sounds weird, but if the image feels like 1 in a million, that impresses me more. Not that street photography is about impressing each other, but the awareness skills and observation skills of Jesse Marlowe, Jeremy Page, Matt Stewart, the fact that you can find those 1 in a million moments, but also compose an image that looks cohesive and it works, and it's not just like a random thing, it's actually a story as well. Yeah, those 3 photographers, Jesse Marlowe, Matt Stewart and Jeremy Page, they are very clever with the camera, let's just say that. I really want to get in and amongst all of this here, but I haven't got the shoes for it. So this is as close as I'm getting. I remember when I first got the Q2 and I pretty much slagged off the crop feature, the using the frame lines like the 35mm, 50mm and 75mm frame lines. As the weeks and months have progressed, I use it all the time. Another question from Parrots Reality said, what made you pick up a camera? I first picked up a camera when I was 12 or 13. I pretty much lived at the skate park from the age of 12 to 20. I wanted to record and take photos of myself skating and my friends on their BMX and stuff like that. So I wasn't interested in becoming a photographer or doing it full time. When I first got a camera, I just thought the camera was a cool tool and I should probably use it if I want to capture these memories. And I think in the skateboard world and the BMX world, photography and recording and filming and making videos, it's like ingrained in the culture. You grow up reading and looking at all the famous magazines, watching all the famous skate videos. Being on camera, or at least filming things, was just part of the job, I guess, as a skater. And I speak to a lot of photographers that are professionals now as fully grown adults that started because of BMX and skateboarding and that whole culture. I think a little bit of parkour is required here. Go on then. I have no idea what I'm doing here. We're just taking photos for the sake of taking photos. Oh, look at this crow. Hello, big boy. Is it a crow? I don't know what it is. Bird watchers, please inform me correctly. See if we can... Oh, there he is. There he goes. Even though none of these photos will be exceptional, isn't it cool to just explore? I would love a bird right dead center in that negative space. You imagine if that happens in 3, 2, 1? Okay, no, that would have been good though. I have no idea what I'm doing. Isn't street photography, or just photography in general, the weirdest hobby? Like, it's 7 AM on a Monday morning, and look, what am I doing? What am I doing? Let's line up the edge of this building with the horizon. Something like that, maybe? Oh, not as agile as I once was. And again. What is your favorite street photography lens? That's easy, a 35 or a 28. If I hadn't have got the Q2, I would have said 35, but since I've been using the 28 on the Q2, I've started to appreciate it more this year. So yeah, 28 or 35, I just think for street photography, you can get, if you use a wider focal length and then get closer to your subjects, the images are a little bit more compelling, or at least the stories can potentially be a bit better. But don't get me started on the old focal length argument. It doesn't really matter, use whatever lens you want. But I did make a video about the 85mm and why I think it's not good for street photography. But I'm not going to go into detail. I'll put a link in the description if you want to watch that and you haven't already, but it's not a big deal. Use whatever lens you want. I prefer a 28 or a 35. It's all personal preference. Pretty good question here from Levi Prests. He said, what do you typically look for / prioritize when shooting street? Background, people, comp, etc.? I think this is a good question. I would say I prioritize the people until there isn't anyone. Like right now, you're watching this video, I don't think I've taken a photo that's included a person at all yet. Definitely people first. If I'm in London, for example, there's always interesting characters and stories to be told. So yeah, people is number one. Like right now, I'm just looking for compositions and lighting and anything that looks appealing, right? So that might be a mix of light, shapes. How can I make this somewhat boring scene that we're looking at interesting? Definitely people first, and then I'll do whatever I can to make the image look better, incorporating compositional skills, lighting, using shapes, whatever. But it starts with people, I think. But in a situation like this, as I just said, there are no people, so I'm just going for compositional stuff. Not great photography conditions, to be honest with you right now, but like I said, we're just here for the sake of taking photos because why not? You need to take 70 million shite photos in order to get the good ones. That's just what I believe anyway. I apologise if you've got this far into the video and haven't seen anything interesting. I haven't seen anything interesting either, so we're both in the same boat. I want to say a big thank you to everyone that pre-ordered my street photography book, which should be out towards the end of November. That's when I'm aiming to ship the books out and send it to everyone. It really does mean a lot. I was pretty blown away by the reception that the book received, actually, when I put a link out asking people, or telling people it was available to pre-order. I wasn't expecting me to sell 100 of them already, so yeah, only 200 copies of this book and 100 of them already sold on pre-orders. Crazy. Thank you so much. Question from Ben Photography 97. Do you ever miss the BMX days? Easy answer to that, I think yes. The BMX days and the skate days were essentially my childhood, or how I grew up as a teenager, so I'll always have a soft spot for, you know, the skateboarding and BMX culture. Not that you grow up, I don't think we need to grow up. I don't think that's the right word to use, but it was just a part of my life, and I'm interested in other things, I guess. I still like to skate when I can, but none of my friends really ride BMX anymore, so like that era of my life, if you want to say, just isn't really that relevant anymore, so I don't mind it being something part of the past, if that makes sense. Sorry, I've probably taken so many photos of just random huts and you probably don't care. I mean, I don't really care for this type of photography either, but I'd rather take photos of this kind of stuff than never take photos, you know? Drop a comment down below if you've been listening to the new Blink-182 album. Blink-182 is probably my favourite band of all time. Their new music is very good. I think they did release the best tracks on the album first though. You know, as the weeks prior to the album was being released, all of the best music kind of came out then. Not that I was disappointed with the rest of the tracks, but I just thought the first few songs were the best. Let's get another question from Instagram. What do you think is an ideal lens combo for travel photography? Anything that allows you to go from 28 all the way to 85 probably. Just covering all bases because travel photography is a very broad thing. So I don't know, what you shoot in landscapes, mountains, cities. Personally, I never feel the need to be more zoomed in than 85, and I never really want to be wider than 28 most of the time. So that's just my personal preference. And the sun is coming out, can you believe it? Not really, maybe that's just false hope. Before we carry on with the video, I'd like to share with you today's sponsor, Squarespace. I've been using Squarespace long before they became sponsors of this channel, and if you're a photographer who wants to look more professional and take your business to a new level, I can't recommend them enough. Squarespace has been my go-to for hosting my photography portfolio, selling digital products, and most recently even a physical product. I've just set up pre-orders for my upcoming book, and the whole process has been super straightforward. A family member of mine recently started a new business, and they got their website set up with Squarespace in no time. With hundreds of beautiful templates to choose from, designing and creating your online space has never been easier. So why not at least start a free trial and see what you think? After that, when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Mike Chudley to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thoughts on the M11P? I was actually considering trading this in, getting the M11P and then a 28mm. But then I'm like, what am I doing? Like, honestly, it makes no difference. If I'm just gonna upgrade to a 28mm, then I'm using one right now. I mean, that is a classic case of gear acquisition syndrome. I don't need to buy it, but yes, I do want it. It does look very nice. It's easy not to buy it when it's so damn expensive. I can't just accidentally walk in there and buy it, but that new Nikon looks fantastic as well. The Nikon ZFC or something, or Z, is it ZF? The sun is out, but we have nothing interesting going on. Ardre Baudry, is that how you say it? has asked, do you prefer to shoot alone or with a friend/partner? Definitely if you're taking good images, whatever good means to you. Most of the time I'm by myself. I don't know what it is. I think when you're not talking to other people and not being social, you can kind of get in and amongst things a little bit easier. Whereas if you're with a group of people and they've all got cameras, it's kind of hard to disguise yourself in the crowds. But I typically go out for walks mostly by myself, but then maybe at a weekend, Saturday or Sunday, there's a lot of other photographers around, so it's good to be social. I don't prefer either or. I think being with other people is better. Just inherently, it's good to be social. When I look back at the photos that I'm most pleased with, I think I was by myself for a lot of them. The pigeon's flying, just take the photo anyway. You never know what might happen. And nothing happened. Whilst I remember, I must take a photo for a thumbnail. It's annoying how important a thumbnail is on YouTube. A good title on a thumbnail will literally break or make a YouTube video, which is annoying in some senses. I'd rather let the video speak for itself, but it's like marketing, isn't it? It has to have a good title, good headline, or else people won't bother watching it. On the subject of thumbnails or YouTube, Nelson Ads on Instagram said, I recently started my street photography YouTube channel. What's the biggest challenge? Obviously, a few challenges with YouTube. It's not easy. Specifically street photography. Well, this is my approach to it. I make sure that I enjoy it. If I enjoy it first and foremost, then you're able to be consistent and think of ideas and etc, etc. You know, the generic YouTube advice that you're probably expecting me to give you. You know, be consistent's good title and thumbnail, have good stories. All that stuff matters. Like, it matters a lot. What matters more than that is wanting to make videos. If you want to make videos, you want to make videos. Does that make sense? You don't want to feel like you have to make videos because you've started a YouTube channel. Make videos that you're interested in and worry less if people are interested in it. Start with your interest first. That's why I do a lot of POV videos, because I'm out taking photos. That's what I enjoy, so I will just film that. I'm not gonna go and film a video that I'm not interested in. Gear videos do well, obviously. Talking about tech, that does well. Doing tips and tutorials, reviews, all of that's the generic stuff. It does well, depending on what it is and how it's packaged, you know, title and thumbnail, etc. But you want to talk about it. You want to go out and film it. And if you don't want to do it, then you'll just end up hating yourself and you'll be annoyed that you started this never-ending game of YouTube. Because that's what it is. You upload a video and then right after you click upload, your brain is then thinking about what's next. But I love it. I think it's great. I love making videos. I love the community that we've managed to build. I love the comments. I love speaking to people that watch the videos and getting ideas for videos. I love editing videos. I think editing YouTube videos is incredibly fun. That's something I enjoy. But actually thinking of ideas and trying to get thousands of views, that's difficult. But that's the nature of the beast, I think. So yeah, just enjoy it first and foremost. You want to do it. That's my advice. Another question from BLK Man behind the cam. He said, how hard is it to narrow down years of work for images in your upcoming book? Incredibly hard, but I think that's the point. I wasn't expecting it to be easy. I think I narrowed it down to 200 images about 9 months ago. Then I got it down to 150, then 100. Then I got a draft made of the first 80 or so. So I kept narrowing it down. It's a process of elimination. When you start sequencing photos, you realize that some images are not needed. Maybe other images are needed when you didn't think they were, to help tell a better story or for the pages to read a little bit nicer. But I didn't think it would be that difficult, but I didn't expect it to be easy. So hopefully that makes sense. Incredibly fun. And I learned more about my photography by making this book than I ever thought I would, but very difficult from going from 200 images down to 50, which was the final selection. See, this is a scene that I wouldn't normally be that interested in, but there's a lot of color and shape. So I'm just playing around with the negative space, really. I'm cropped into 35mm, maybe even go to 50mm. Yeah, no idea if that's any good or not, but we've got some birds. Let's see if we can compose these. Little pigeon in the middle, boom. Question from A. Tarrant said, if you could dream up the perfect street photo and shoot it, what would it look like? I think the point is with street photography and why it's so appealing is because you couldn't possibly think about it. You couldn't possibly make it up. I think what happens in the street is so random, and if you're able to capture a story well enough in a cohesive, interesting frame, then you wouldn't have expected it. that's a good photograph for me. So back to my favourite photographers that I mentioned earlier, Jesse Marlowe, Matt Stewart, Jeremy Page. Their images are so random and so interesting that it wouldn't have been possible for me to dream them up, if that makes sense. And I think that's why street photography is so interesting, because you couldn't have imagined it. Chris Harrison said well in the picture profile video that I did with him, along the lines of, a good street photo looks like it shouldn't have happened in the street. It's something interesting and bizarre, but you're kind of questioning if it really happened. I think those images are really interesting.